Hi, my name is Chauncey Montgomery, Director of Community Library in Sunbury. We'll be interviewing the 4 candidates for the 2 open seats for the Big Walnut Board of Education, those being Stephen Fuji, Zach Duffy, Brandon Hogue, and Todd Smith. These interviews are a partnership between the Big Walnut Civic Association, the Delaware Area Career Center, and the Community Library. We'd like to thank the students that helped film the interviews as well as editing the segments for distribution later. And then we'd also like to thank the 4 candidates for taking time out of their busy schedule to sit down and talk with us. We're going to start with Steve Fuji, and I'd like to ask you, why are you running for school board?
Well, Chauncey, before I answer, let me say thank you to you. Let me say thank you to the Big Walnut Civic Association. And let me say thank you to the Delaware Area Career Center Digital Design Classroom, because behind the camera that you can't see right now are Ash, Brianna, and Mr. Fuller, their teacher. So thank you for asking that question, and thank you for having me here. But technically, Chauncey, I think the question you really want to ask, at least me, is why am I asking to rerun for the Board of Education? Because while I'm proud that we have 4 candidates for 2 open spots on the Board of Education, I am the only one that gets to say that I'm rerunning and asking to be reelected for the board. So as I think about the question that you're asking of why am I rerunning, I think it's probably important that I share a little bit about myself. I am the proud husband to a beautiful and amazing wife of 24 years, Jennifer Fuji. We've got 2, in my humble opinion, wonderful children. One is a Big Walnut High School graduate from the class of 2021. She's at an Ohio college this year, and I'm really proud of her. And my second actually graduated with your son this past year in the class of 2023, and he's off doing wonderful things in college. So I'm really proud of them, and I'm proud of the education that they received here. And service is kind of part of my core. So when you ask me why I want to run to be reelected, it's because I enjoy serving. That belief in service really started as a commissioned military officer. I graduated and was what was called a distinguished military graduate, which means that I was in the top 20% of my commissioning year. I got to serve abroad as a tank platoon leader. I got to serve as a forward operating scout, and I got to come back in the Ohio National Guard and continue my service to our great country by serving as the squadron executive officer for a squadron here in the Ohio National Guard. I've served communities for a long time as a professional educator. I served as a teacher. I came to Big Walnut local schools actually in 2007 and 8 and served as an assistant principal. I then became the middle school principal and served 4 years as the high school principal. I've served this community for a long time and I'm proud of that service. And then finally I went on and became actually as I look at our Delaware Area Career Center students and staff, I got to be the curriculum director at the Delaware Area Career Center and served our community in that capacity. Today, I serve as the vice president of a proud Delaware County established national organization. I'm the vice president of experience, and I want to bring that service. I want to bring my belief of sustained excellence for all of our students in this community and my stewardship and belief in stewardship for our community and staff back to the board if reelected. Thank you for the question.
All righty. So in the next 5 years, what issue do you think will be the most challenging for the district and how will you tackle it?
Well, our core business, I'm going to answer this in really 2 facets. First, our core business has to be about educating students. Mm-hmm. The relationship between the teacher and the student has to be held sacred because that's where the magic happens of teaching and learning. So our core business has to continue to be, to improve. I'm very proud of where we are. In fact, as you ask about our challenges, I'm very proud that over the last 4 years, our academic achievement, each year that I've been on this board, has only improved. Every single year that I've been on the board, our academic achievement has improved. I'm proud of that. But we are not where we need to be, and we can definitely get better. I think that part of our challenge in the next term will be to help work with our administrative team, provide oversight and guidance to ensure that our educational product continues to improve. Beyond that, the other thing that I would say is a major challenge for us, and it was a challenge 4 years ago when I ran for the Board of Education. It was a challenge 16 years ago when I came to this community to serve as an administrator. Our greatest challenge continues to be that of growth. How is it that we plan for the future? I'll share 3 things about growth. First, We opened up 2 new buildings during my term on the board on time and on budget. Very proud of that when we talk about stewardship. That's one way that we've dealt with growth. Another way that we've dealt with growth over this period of time is we've started to rethink the designations of our buildings and our academic products. So what I mean by that is on a board agenda coming soon to a board agenda near you, you will see information about how do we restructure our school district to allow growth to occur where there are facilities that can sustain growth. So what that means is if the board votes to approve it, there will be a redesignation of our elementary schools from K4 to actually K3. Our intermediate school would go to a 4-5 building. Our middle school becomes a true middle school then. It is 6, 7, and 8. And that building at 555 South Old 3C is the building, Big Walnut Middle School, is the building that previously housed 4 grade levels. So I know that it has capacity to grow and accept the growth of our students. And then we have room to continue to grow at our high school. So there's a second way that we have addressed growth. And the third topic as it relates to our challenges, academics and growth, the third component of growth is really the work that we have engaged with the mayor of Sunbury in talking about this limited industrial district. What that means is here in Big Walnut local schools, the preponderance of taxes fall on our residents' shoulders. So our residents are really responsible for the funding of our school district. I'm proud that in the last 4 years, we haven't asked for a new financial commitment from our community. I'm proud to say that based on our treasurer's 5-year forecast, in the next 4 years, I don't estimate the need to ask for new money from our community. That's about being a good steward. And in working with the mayor, which was our third component, the conversation of our limited industrial district is the fact that it will diversify our tax base and allow the burden to be eased from our community's shoulders a bit. So that, if you look around Big Walnut, we're 142, 144 square miles. We have some wonderful industry. I mean, we can consider the community resources of this very library that we're sitting in today as part of that. In addition, we have resources like Showa across the street. We have some other business partners or business areas in this community. But in order for us to diversify our tax base, we need to continue to grow that. So I'm convinced that the work that we've done over the last 4 years and the work we'll continue to do in those partnerships will help to diversify that tax base, release the burden from us as individual taxpayers, and help maintain and sustain the growth of our school district. Our biggest challenges are academic, to continue to improve, and dealing with growth.
Okay. So how do you balance, and you kind of got to this in the last answer, but how do you balance issues of staff retention and district growth while leading the district towards financial stability?
Yeah, so there's a lot to that one probably, and maybe what I would highlight on this is, as a board member, you subtly ask and you do things to work with the administrative team. I'm very proud that in hiring our new superintendent, I think he's excellent. I think our previous superintendent was excellent. I think our superintendent now is excellent. I'm very proud of this hire and our treasurer that we bring to this community as quality resources. But when we talk about our staff, one of the things that I really want to pay attention to is what does the data say? And before now, monitoring turnover or monitoring what is happening has been a bit of a challenge at a board level, at a governance level. Our superintendent, and actually his team, he has hired an excellent team as well, have started to do what's called transition or exit interviews this past year. So being able to collect that data, not just on why this person left or why that person left, but really looking holistically at what our metrics tell us is important to me, because I think from there it's important that we kind of pull out what are the themes that we can help improve. What are our current staff telling us about areas for improvement, and how do we continue to move the district forward? As a point of reference, if you think a year ago during my time on the board, we had some real concerns with substitute teachers and bus drivers. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm really proud that we came to an agreement with our bus driver association. I'm proud of what our bus drivers are doing to service this district. I'm really proud of what they do to greet kids every morning when they come into school. That's one thing that's on the horizon as we move forward. How do we continue to compensate and recognize our staff? The other one was our substitute teachers. If you think back a year ago, we were having a hard time with fill rates and substitutes. and come to find out, based on data, that we were so low in how we were paying our folks. How do we adjust that? Well, you'll see that working with our superintendent, I made a motion that we increase our sub pay, and we have done that. And I'm very proud that in being fiscally responsible, being a good steward of our resources, and working to fill our greatest needs of bus drivers and substitutes, those are two things that we've done, as well as hear from our staff annually on how they're processing with the district, what their needs are, what opportunities they're looking for professional development, and getting the information from our staff who exit, whether it's to go on to a promotion in another district, whether it's to take another job, whether it's to retire. What are some things that we need to know about our district? So I like to focus on the data.
Okay. How do you suggest our district promote unity and continue moving forward when challenges such as school security, book selection, and parental rights spur division?
So I've heard a lot about division lately, and maybe I've even felt it myself.
Mm-hmm.
This might be an area where I have a unique take. I actually think, and it comes from learning how to negotiate contracts.
Mm-hmm.
As in a superintendent's program and those types of things, you have to learn about through different classes. And I had a professor once who talked about, Steve, conflict is good. Conflict is how change occurs. If there isn't conflict, then the status quo is always acceptable. So I certainly don't personally enjoy what you say as spurring division, but I also recognize it as necessary, because through division and through conflict, we actually achieve growth. I'm proud that that's how I view those topics. You've never heard me from a board seat say, well, I need everybody to be nice to each other. No, it's okay. I want everybody to be kind in how we address one another. But if we have disagreements, that's all right. Disagreements are positive. I strongly believe in parent rights. Strongly believe in parent rights. In fact, I think the book division conversation that you might be alluding to came from parent rights. And I'm proud that we have policies in place to help address that. And when the parent right still feels like, hey, that maybe didn't satisfy me, there's a board of education for them to appeal to. I think and the fact that the board comes to that solution through different lenses matters to me. I think that's very important, and I appreciate and value that. As it comes to safety and some of the other topics that you bring up, while I certainly want us to focus on moving our district forward, I'm also not in the boat of saying that everybody has to get along in order to do that. It's good when we have conflict to help us to achieve those things. But if you're asking about safety specifically, I do have some thoughts on that. If the question wants to go that direction, but I leave that.
Yeah, if you want to elaborate on that.
Well, this kind of comes back to, I mentioned being a military officer, right? So there are a couple of things that I learned in that space. There are just some truths that I embrace. One of those truths are we're always as good as we are prepared to be. We have to focus on being prepared. Mm-hmm. Chauncey, you and I happen to attend the same church. I have a deep belief in God. And God has told us that there is evil in the world. I don't like that. I don't like that evil exists, but at the same time, I have to recognize it. So we have to be prepared to make sure that we are in line with best practices or better practices to do things. So step one is preparedness, in my opinion. Step two on this topic is about professional relationships. When I came to this district as the assistant principal, we had one school resource officer here. In the last 4 years that I've been on the board, we've hired 2 more. Now, from the sheriff's office, Deputy Snyder, Deputy Roy, and from Sunbury Police Department, Officer Whiteside, I'm proud of the service that they provide in our school systems. They're professional peacekeepers, safety officers, school resource officers, and I'm proud of that. By having professional school resource officers in our building, which again, we've gone from 1 to 3, that allows our professional educators to do their professional job. So part of it is also professional relationships. Make sure that you're prepared. The Boy Scouts never got it wrong. Be prepared, right? You have professional relationships and accountability. As a board, we have to make sure that we hold them accountable. And the other consideration there is the physical enhancements of our district. I think that I can speak to some of those. Quite honestly, some of them are executive privilege. They're not meant to be discussed in a public setting. But one that I can point to that any of our families would notice is the implementation of the Raptor system over the last year. Raptor is a physical enhancement that allows our secretaries and our building administrators and teachers to know who comes in a building. So it might take a little longer. I've got to show my ID when I come in. I've got to print my sticker. I've got to wear my sticker around our district. But that's an important safety enhancement. And that didn't just start this year. There were soft launches with different buildings and pilots of that within the last year to help make that happen. Those are the types of things that I think are important. So how do we deal with those? We have to talk about the steps that we're taking to harden our structures, to prepare our staff, to make sure that we are developing professional relationships, because those are the things in my mind. If there are other ideas that come to the topic or to the surface, we have to address those too. It's not as though we're done. It's not like, hey, check, we did that.
Right.
It's that we have to do this and continue to get better.
Okay. So the last question, and maybe the most important, how will you be an advocate for the students at Big Walnut?
So I truly miss in my current professional life being able to address student body, being able to talk to freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors. I know we have a Big Walnut student here in the room with us right now. I think that I've spent my career advocating for students. I think that I've spent my career doing and acting on what I believe to be best for young people. I believe in their future. I believe in our community, and I believe that our community wants the best for our students and their future. So I would continue to advocate for our students by saying this. To our students, be proud. Be proud of being an Eagle. The fact that we only have one high school was very intentional. We didn't want two high schools with two different mascots. We wanted all of our students in this community to be Big Walnut Eagles. Beyond that, beyond being proud about being an Eagle, I'd also ask our students to have hope in their future. Now, Johnsy, The Science of Hope, I'm sure if I go out here in the library, I can find a couple of books by Shane Lopez. But The Science of Hope is more than wishful thinking. When I ask our students and I advocate for our students to have hope, the conversation is you have to have a belief first. Believe that tomorrow can be better than today. And if you have that belief and have a vision for what that belief can do, what is it tomorrow that can be better than today? Specifically, as students, when you think about having hope in tomorrow, what is it that you need to do today to make tomorrow better? And the final thing is have agency. Agency means nothing more than the skills and ability. Have agency in your belief. Know that you have the skills and ability to believe that tomorrow can be better than today. And have agency in the fact that your vision can come true. Believe that you have the skills and the abilities to act on that belief and make your vision of what tomorrow looks like come true. Make tomorrow better. Have hope. I would say those things as I continue to advocate for Big Walnut. I have faith in us. I have faith in our community. I have faith in conflict. I have faith in the idea that our students are great folks and they come from great families. I have a belief that we are proud of our community in this school district. And beyond that, I have hope for the future. If I can demonstrate through this interview my background and what gives me hope, the abilities that I have to work with school districts nationwide as well as companies and the best practices or better practices in helping our students, I want to be able to articulate that. And that, sir, to come full circle, is why I believe I should be reelected to the Board of Education here in Big Walnut Local Schools.
All righty. Well, we appreciate you taking the time to speak with us and wish you the best of luck.
Thanks, Johnson. Appreciate you. Thank you again.